Hello, everybody. I'm Bromopar.
I'm Darkphoenix. Help! I married a nerd!
Welcome to the podcast where I, Bromopar, drop a nerdy topic on my wife, Darkphoenix. We discuss, and hilarity ensues. Basically, this podcast started because I was constantly just dropping nerdy topics on her out of the blue, especially when poor Darkphoenix is trying to watch a movie.
All the time.
Yeah, it happens a lot. I mean, and we decided, hey, why the fuck not? Let's do this in a podcast and see what happens. So here we are. This is the first one, and my topic to you, Star Wars Episode VII. It is not too far out. December 18th is the release date.
Yeah.
There's trailers and TV spots, and there's pictures and all kinds of shit coming up. There's one thing, however, in the latest trailer. This is actually the Japanese trailer, the one that dropped overseas, that is bugging the ever-living shit out of me.
This is the extended one they just released, right?
Yeah. This is the most recent trailer. It's the one that we weren't supposed to get, but the internet exists, so unless you drop it in some remote tribe in the Amazon rainforest, it's getting worldwide very quickly. And the trailer showed X-Wings and TIE fighters fighting in an atmosphere. And there's two things about this that really bugged the shit out of me. First of all, this movie is called Star Wars, and we have yet to see any action in space. Everything has been on a planet. Okay, fine. I
hadn't even really realized that.
Yeah, everything has been on a planet.
I'm gonna have to watch the trailer again. I mean,
check it out. All the action's on the planet. The Millennium Falcon dodging through the space wreckage, the dogfighting between the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter. It's all on a fucking planet. The Star Wars, which we have known for taking place in space, are not happening in space.
Well, I can watch the trailer without the sound on just to see how it is. Star Wars Force Awakens.
Just Star Wars Force Awakens trailer. It's on YouTube. There's 1,000 of them there. You see what I'm talking about.
Well, I guess it doesn't matter if it's the international trailer or the regular trailer.
No, it's in both of them.
So I'm going to watch the regular trailer. It's a little longer.
Yeah, what I'm talking about is definitely in both trailers.
Well, there was fighting in all the other Star Wars. There was fighting not in space, but they also had fighting in space too.
Well, the fighting specifically I'm talking about is like the dog fighting.
Yeah.
They fought on Hoth, of course, and the Forcemen of Endor. They fought there. Of course, there was the chase scene inside the Death Star. But those were all foot battles. Those were all soldiers with rifles, and there were ground vehicles. I mean, they were the snow speeders, but those were clearly designed to be in an atmosphere. The only time you saw the X-Wings and the Millennium Falcon in an atmosphere was when they were leaving the planet.
Yeah.
Is when they were getting the fuck out of Dodge. They weren't hanging around and having a dogfight. And that really bugged me. Well, it didn't bug me in the classic.
Yeah, here's a little bit of... there was a little space scene.
Oh, yeah. It looked like
there.
The TIE fighter thing going.
But you know what? I mean, they're still trying to tell a story. I mean, it's still other worlds and other planets. Just because they don't necessarily show tons of in-space footage doesn't mean it can't still be classified as Star Wars.
Well, it's not that I'm declassifying this as Star Wars. It's that these spaceships in particular cannot fly in an atmosphere. Okay?
Now I'm trying to remember if they had showed any other ships flying through atmosphere in any of the other ones.
Slave 1 took off from Bespin. And of course, there's the Lambda shuttles. But those had wings.
I'm watching this right now. I mean, they're...
Yeah. I mean, they showed Lambda shuttles going in and out. I mean, there's a shuttle Tydirium, which landed on Endor. There was a Darth Vader's shuttle, which also landed on Endor. But those have wings. Those have airfoils. Yeah. Those have, devices on them that generate atmospheric lift. You can control... They have control surfaces that utilize atmospheric friction. X-Wings and TIE fighters don't have that. They can't fly in an atmosphere.
Well, this does appear to be in the future, so maybe by then those ships had been retrofitted to be able to fly through atmospheres.
No.
What do you mean, just no?
No. In order to fly in an atmosphere, you need something that is going to generate lift. Because, see, here's the problem. As you're flying through an atmosphere, you are encountering air resistance. Air resistance is pushing on your craft, slowing it down, or attempting to slow it down at the very least, generating a lot of heat, and it's also generating a crazy amount of drag in various directions. And what that does is it destabilizes the craft. This is why you need airfoils. This is why you need things that generate lift. Because what happens is that as the airfoil travels to the atmosphere, it creates lift that they call it lift because it lifts the aircraft into the air, and that is how it remains stable. That is why even a plane that has no engine power whatsoever continues to glide. A TIE fighter, as soon as those engines cut for any reason, it's just going to drop like a fucking stone. To say nothing about the fact that trying to turn with those solar panels, they turn left or right. Now all of a sudden these massive solar panels, and keep in mind, these things are fucking huge. Yeah. Okay? I mean, we've seen Luke and everybody next to a life-size X-Wing, and TIE fighters are even bigger. And the solar panels account for a massive amount of that area. So as soon as they turn left or right, you've got this massive panel hitting the air, and it should be generating so much drag that the craft almost comes to a stop and just falls out of the sky. Because, again, there's no airfoil, there's nothing to generate lift,
And this is the reason when I watch movies, while I enjoy the technical and scientific aspects that are either correct or incorrect when discussing them, I also sometimes like to watch the movie to just plain enjoy it. I don't care if some certain things don't look right or they really shouldn't be in a certain way. If I'm entertained and that makes me happy, then the movie did exactly what it was supposed to do for me. Thank you very much.
Well, how can you be entertained watching a scene that you know cannot happen?
Because it's fiction, it's movies, it's not real.
Look, I understand.
That's okay.
No, it's not okay.
Yes, it is okay.
No,
You're just
it
not
is
a movie
not.
person. You're just not a movie person.
No, it is not okay. Okay, I'm as big a Star Wars fan as anybody. Okay, I kick ass at fucking Star Wars Trivial Pursuit.
This actually really has nothing to do with Star Wars. It's just the fact that you're not a movie person.
It has everything to do with Star Wars. George Lucas never showed X-Wings and TIE fighters flying in an atmosphere for a reason. He knew they couldn't do it. The same reason we never saw Star Destroyers in an atmosphere, because he knew they were too big. They'd burn up flying in. I mean, it goes back, even in Star Trek, which you're a huge fan of. Gene Roddenberry specifically developed the transporter, and when people ask him, why did he come up with the transporter, he said, because the ship was too big. I couldn't figure out how to get the thing to land without destroying itself in the atmosphere. Yeah. So he developed the transporter, so as a way for people to get up and down to the ships.
But they did have shuttlecrafts too, though.
Yeah, they also had shuttlecrafts, and Star Wars made extensive use of shuttlecraft. Like I said, the Lambda-class shuttle, it has airfoils, it has wings, it has a giant rudder, it uses atmospheric control surfaces. I mean, all those things are there. TIE fighters don't have that, and the X-Wings I'm kind of giving maybe sort of a pass to, because X-Wings have a deflector shield, and you could probably make a convincing argument for how the deflector shield is manipulated by the ship's onboard computer to create an airfoil, so the little stubby wings, which actually aren't airfoils themselves, can generate lift using the energy barrier that surrounds them. It's a bit of a stretch, but okay, I can see it. TIE fighters don't have deflector shield. They don't have any means whatsoever.
Are you even going to see the movie when it comes out?
Yeah, but probably not until very, very late. I'm staying away from the theater.
Well, I know.
Crazy.
We don't really go to the theater anymore, but I mean, you will watch it.
At some point, yeah, I'm going to watch it. I mean,
I want to see it too.
I'm not that excited about it, I'll be perfectly honest with you.
Really? I think it looks good and it looks interesting. And
that's the problem.
I'm interested in where they're going to go with the story. I mean,
that's the other problem I have.
But see, up until I saw the trailer, I didn't have any interest in the new Star Wars movie. I was like, well, George Lucas isn't a part of it anymore, which means it's probably going to suck. But then I saw the trailer and I thought it looked good.
That's the problem. It looks good, but that's about it. I mean, San Andreas looked good, but didn't stop it from being a shitty movie.
But see, I already knew ahead of time it was, so I was just watching it for the pure destructive entertainment portion.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that in a different podcast, believe me.
Uh-huh.
But
I bet we will.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Believe me, we're gonna cover that at some point.
Mm-hmm. Leave my disaster porn alone.
Well, you get off my back about Star Wars. No. But no, I mean it's just there's certain things that you come to expect from these movies, and I'm not seeing any of them. You know, very little action takes place in space. You've got things that are contradictory to the classic trilogy already in these space fights. Actually, they're not even space fights; they're atmospheric dogfights with space superiority craft that, you know, we already know from decades of the expanded universe from many authors who have all said these ships cannot fly in an atmosphere. They can't do it. I mean, even talk about the X-Wings. Like, yeah, they have stubby wings, which kind of help, so they fly a little bit better than the TIE fighters. But even then, they admit that the X-Wing is seriously outclassed. The ship that actually does the best is the Z-95 Headhunter, which is what people thought the new X-Wings were. As it turns out, they weren't. To be perfectly honest, I would have been happy with the Z-95 Headhunter being in these. I'd love to see those in action, but once again, that is a different topic.
Well, I mean, overall, I'm not like so excited about it that, you know, I would go to see it on the first day, even if we were movie theater goers. I mean, I used to be a movie theater goer way back in the day, but since you're not a big movie buff, I just usually end up waiting for movies to come out on DVD to either rent or buy.
If you're going to go to a movie theater, you know, the cost of it these days, going by yourself is pointless at best. I used to go to movies, you know, by myself all the time back when I was a kid. I mean, you know, matinee was, I remember just the Century 10 in Mountain View, California. Matinee movie was $3.25.
I don't have a problem going to a movie by myself or anything, but as far as price, I mean, it has to be, if I was going to go pay that kind of money to go see a movie in a theater, then it would have to be something really, really special, you know, at this point. Although, even in the past, when movies weren't expensive, that was still my criteria for going to the movies. It had to be, you know, something I felt worth my money. And there's been a lot of movies that have come out in the last few years I would have loved to see in the theaters, but since A, haven't really had the money, and B, I don't really particularly like going by myself, to be honest. That's why I've never gone. But, you know, I mean, this Star Wars, I'm perfectly content to wait till it comes out to rent on Redbox. If by chance we happen to really, really like it, I don't have a problem buying it. I'll just have to wait and see.
Well, I'm going to buy it. I mean, I'm going to buy all the Star Wars movies. I don't have the prequel trilogy right now. The only reason I got rid of the copies that I did have is because they were full screen back when that was still a thing.
Yeah.
You know, we never, unfortunately, when I traded them in, the prequel trilogy had completely gone out of print. You can't fucking find them anymore.
Yeah.
So trying to get my hands on a copy of the widescreen edition has just been almost impossible. Every time we go to Rasputin, we go and I find like one of them.
Yeah.
And of course, stupid me, I have to buy all three at the same time. That scene, you know, once again, getting back on the topic, that scene really just kind of ruins things for me because it's just this part of the reason why I don't watch movies is because I can't sit there and watch a movie when I'm watching a scene that I know cannot happen.
See, and that's why you're not really a movie goer, because you're analyzing the movie too much instead of just enjoying it. I mean, you can analyze a movie, and you've seen me do that plenty of times, but I can also just sit back and enjoy it. Like I said, whether something can happen or not. I mean, you have animated movies. Obviously, those aren't real, but we enjoy them.
Well, I mean, again, they're not real. None of these movies are real. I mean, whether or not it's reality has absolutely nothing to do with it. I mean, nothing to do with it whatsoever. It is the fact that you're looking at something that you know damn well can't possibly happen in this universe.
But I don't care because I just want to be entertained.
Well, I mean, I want to be entertained too, but there's a certain amount of realism that goes along with that. It's the same reason why I won't watch the Harry Potter movies, just because of this, fake ass lighting thing, and the TIE fighters flying in an atmosphere is even more egregious as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I'm pretty damn close to not seeing this movie in theaters at all, especially when you consider some of the other plot holes that I think, while it's purely only speculation at this point, there's several other problems that I have with the story as it's been presented. Not the least of which is the fact that it appears that the Empire is still very much in power. And despite the death of Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader simultaneously, the rebellion has made no grounds whatsoever. And, I mean, if just getting down to pure speculative, my purely speculative nature, I'm thinking that the reason these TIE fighters are on this planet to begin with is they're looking for the new rebel base.
Well, how far in the future is this?
30 years. Yeah, I mean, it's taken pretty much the same time frame between Return of the Jedi that currently exists. They're not. That's why they're not CGIing Han, Luke and Leia to look, young again. They all look old. I mean, all this time has passed. So the rebellion, for whatever reason, despite destroying 2 Death Stars, despite killing the Emperor, despite killing Lord Vader, failed. What the fuck? And then you throw in TIE fighters flying in an atmosphere on top of all that, and I'm just like, give me a fucking break, JJ. Are you serious with this horse shit? I mean, it looks pretty, sure, but, Kim Kardashian looks pretty. It doesn't mean shit in the end. It doesn't mean I'm going to watch the fucking show.
And this is why I usually watch movies by myself. So I don't have to listen to you bitching, moaning, and groan about how things aren't technically correct.
Well, why'd you agree to this fucking podcast then?
Hey. I was forced. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you were not for it.
I know.
No, I mean, it's just, it's these little things. I mean, they're not even little things. I mean, they are very big things. I mean, these things matter.
It's a big thing. It's grounds for divorce kind of thing.
I'm not talking about movies. Just watching movies in general, for crying out loud. No, I mean, it's just little details. I mean, it was a mistake to make these movies right from the very beginning. I mean, I said that as soon as Disney purchased Star Wars. As soon as they said, yeah, we're making a new trilogy, I was like, oh shit, this is not a good thing at all. When they hired on J.J. Abrams, remember, originally he didn't want to do it. And I was really happy about that, but unfortunately they offered him a shitload of money, and he finally said okay, and I was like, oh fuck, here we go. Yeah. And I have not one of these trailers has dissuaded my negative feelings at all. And again, it is the little details. It is things like, I mean, because these are trailers, I don't want to show you any of the story, and I don't want to see any of the fucking story. I don't want to see these trailers at all, but you can't avoid them. They're everywhere. I mean, they showed up in my fucking, Yahoo feed on the little ad banners, like Star Wars Episode VII, latest trailer drops, and I'm looking up and I see TIE fighters coming out of the sunlight, and I'm like, that can't fucking happen. JJ, what the fuck are you doing? And that's one more thing I don't like about this whole situation is people have been like, especially the fans that hated the prequel trilogy. They're all like, hey, we don't have a Star Wars movie with George Lucas anymore. Yay, we got J.J. Abrams. Yay, look what he did for Star Trek. And yes, J.J. Abrams made Star Trek. He also made Star Trek Into Darkness, which sucked.
Excuse me?
It did.
No.
Yeah, it did.
No, it didn't.
Oh yeah, it did. It sucked by a lot.
Don't you rip into my Star Trek. You already made me feel shitty about Star Wars. Don't rip.
You're not even a Star Wars fan. How could you feel shitty about Star Wars?
I am a fan. I just like Star Trek more. Doesn't mean I like Star Wars any less. There's a difference.
You do. Wait, hang on a second. Let's back this up for a second here. Maybe we found the divide. You said you like Star Trek more, but that doesn't mean you don't like Star Wars less. Excuse me. Explain that one to me, please. You like Star Trek more, but you don't like Star Wars best, or you don't like Star Wars less.
I mean, any less.
Any less than what?
than I used to.
What is your mode of comparison? You don't like Star Wars less than Armageddon? Okay, I'm glad for that.
Can we go on to another question, please? Oh my gosh.
What is it you're most excited? I mean, what is it about these trailers that has you excited? I'm not excited about these trailers at all.
Learning what's happened to Han, Luke, and Leia, and Chewie and all them.
What else in the movie?
Since before.
All we know is that they're there. But we've known that for a better part of a year, actually.
Well, I'm hoping that we'll get some sort of backstory as to things that have happened since the last one.
Well, JJ's smart. Yeah, he's going to have some kind of backstory.
Well, yeah, people are going to want to know. Well, it's been
everyone wants to know. I mean,
yeah.
that's not negotiable. I mean, if you're going to make a Star Wars movie this long after Return of the Jedi, you have to explain what has happened in the 30 years since. You don't get a choice in the matter. The only thing we've learned about the trilogy is that, or the Episode VII, and what's happened since Return of the Jedi, is that somehow the Empire managed to cover it up. You know, I mean, even though Emperor Palpatine, Darth Vader, the two most prominent, two most powerful figures in the entire fucking Empire, died simultaneously on the same day, and there was this massive battle that involved, you know, thousands of people on both sides. You had, I mean, it blew up the fucking, you know, Alderaan and all this other stuff. You know, despite all of this, despite making 2 Death Stars, something that they really, you know, couldn't possibly have hidden because there's just too fucking many people, the Empire somehow managed to cover it all up. Because, you know, in the scene with, what's her name? I think Rey and Finn on the Millennium Falcon, they're talking to Han Solo, and she's like, well, there's been stories, there's been rumors, and it's all true. You know, so for whatever reason, there's doubt that any of this shit happened. And that bothers the shit out of me. So, I mean, he better have a damn good fucking explanation for why, you know, nobody knows that there was this giant space station that blows up planets being built.
Yeah.
That, you know, that was where the Emperor and Darth Vader died. I mean, you can't just brush that under the rug.
You know, there has been online articles about some sort of possible alien craft that they're seeing with the long-range telescopes, although they're saying it's probably just like a planet blocking another planet. But there's been, like, you know, the UFO conspiracy theorists are saying that it's a...
The fuck does this have to do with Star Wars?
Well, hold on. That there's this big thing getting built out in space, and it's big and round like the Death Star, so maybe they're just predicting the future, and we're just now seeing the Death Star way out in the distance. It could all be real! What?
How stoned are you?
It makes complete sense. Sort of.
Again, the fuck does this have to do with Star Wars?
It could, you know, be a warning to us. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
Okay. This tangent brought to you by...
Hey. Shush.
But, yeah, I mean, it's just so many things bother me about these trailers. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm an artist, maybe it's because I'm a writer. You know, as soon as I see a trailer, as soon as I see something like this, yeah, I'm going to try and, like, you know, comb over the fine details and all this other stuff.
I never do with the trailers. And then when I see a movie, the first couple times I watch it to enjoy it, and if it's something that is, like, sci-fi or scientific or whatever, and I feel like picking it apart, then I do that after. Once I've done that, then I just go back to enjoying it again.
The only thing we've learned about the trilogy is that, or the Episode VII, and what's happened since Return of the Jedi, is that somehow the Empire managed to cover it up. You know, I mean, even though Emperor Palpatine, Darth Vader, the two most prominent, two most powerful figures in the entire fucking Empire, died simultaneously on the same day, and there was this massive battle that involved, thousands of people on both sides. You had, it blew up the fucking, Alderaan and all this other stuff. Despite all of this, despite making 2 Death Stars, something that they really, couldn't possibly have hidden because there's just too fucking many people, the Empire somehow managed to cover it all up. Because, in the scene with, what's her name? I think Rey and Finn on the Millennium Falcon, they're talking to Han Solo, and she's like, well, there's been stories, there's been rumors, and it's all true. So for whatever reason, there's doubt that any of this shit happened. And that bothers the shit out of me. So, he better have a damn good fucking explanation for why, nobody knows that there was this giant space station that blows up planets being built.
Yeah.
That, that was where the Emperor and Darth Vader died. You can't just brush that under the rug.
There has been online articles about some sort of possible alien craft that they're seeing with the long-range telescopes, although they're saying it's probably just like a planet blocking another planet. But there's been the UFO conspiracy theorists are saying that it's a...
The fuck does this have to do with Star Wars?
Well, hold on. That there's this big thing getting built out in space, and it's big and round like the Death Star, so maybe they're just predicting the future, and we're just now seeing the Death Star way out in the distance. It could all be real! What?
How stoned are you?
It makes complete sense. Sort of.
Again, the fuck does this have to do with Star Wars?
It could, be a warning to us. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
Okay. This tangent brought to you by...
Hey. Shush.
But, yeah, it's just so many things bother me about these trailers. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm an artist, maybe it's because I'm a writer. As soon as I see a trailer, as soon as I see something like this, I'm going to try and, go comb over the fine details and all this other stuff.
I never do with the trailers. And then when I see a movie, the first couple times I watch it to enjoy it, and if it's something that is, sci-fi or scientific or whatever, and I feel like picking it apart, then I do that after. Once I've done that, then I just go back to enjoying it again.
Well, it's not.
I go both ways.
I can't really help myself with the trailers. I just analyze them anyway. I do the same thing with movies, and even on my first sit through, where you can't possibly figure out all the little nuances and all the little details and everything in one sitting, there are these glaring things that pop up. TIE fighters flying in an atmosphere. They have no wings. They have these giant solar panels that should generate so much fucking drag they just fall out of the sky anytime they try to make a turn.
Yeah.
It's things like that when you're looking at it, you're just like, okay, great, this looks pretty, but this cannot fucking happen. Why is this a part of the story? How is this, you couldn't have found some other way around this? Surely the Empire, they've got the whole fucking galaxy of resources at their disposal. You're telling me they couldn't possibly have made another craft that can fly in an atmosphere? The TIE Fighter is it. That's the only thing they've got. The TIE Fighter, the TIE Interceptor. That's it. They have nothing else that can fly down on this planet that can actually, has wings and could, is aerodynamic and, isn't gonna fall out of the sky every time it makes a 0.5 degree radius turn.
Well, again, that's just why you and I don't watch movies together.
We're going to have a bitch of a time if we sit down to watch this fucking movie. You know that, right?
I know.
And we both want to see it.
And then I'm going to end up not enjoying it just because you're going to nitpick every little thing. So just let me enjoy the pretend. Reality sucks enough as it is. I like my movies. Don't judge me.
I can see it now. Fucking, we're sitting in the theater and there's Darkphoenix. She's got her popcorn. There's a giant soda sitting in the armrest. It's just munching down on popcorn. And there I am next to her, with the duct tape over my mouth.
Yeah. The rate you're going, you do that now.
I didn't even finish the podcast yet. But yeah, I'm sorry. I gotta call bullshit on what we've seen so far. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I mean, you know what a huge Star Wars fan I am.
I know.
So, I mean, I really want this movie to work. Based on what we've seen so far, it's just not. And the way they do trailers nowadays, you see half the movie in the fucking trailer as it is. And I'm really hoping that's not the case. I'm really hoping J.J. Abrams went old school with these trailers, and to the point where, yeah, you see a lot of visuals and you see a lot of things. I mean, I'm not crazy about the visuals, what I've seen so far.
Yeah.
But the appeal of Star Wars has always been the story. It's always been, even the prequel trilogy. In fact, I even go so far as to say especially the prequel trilogy, because the overall storytelling, while the individual actors' performances left much to be desired, and there was probably way too much CG, again, the visuals were really bad. The reason I give the prequel trilogy a pass is because the storytelling really was that good. And so I'm hoping that's what happens with Episode 7. I'm hoping that the storytelling really is that good, that in the end, while these battle scenes are, bullshit and really a big deal in the grand scheme of things,
yeah,
it will still work out because I'll get the story that I'm really wanting. When we went to the prequel trilogy, all I wanted was the overarching story. I didn't really care about anything else. Yeah, Aiden Christensen sucked. Yeah, all the CGI looked terrible. I didn't care. I wanted the story. And that's really how I'm going to go into this one.
I know he probably could have been a better actor, but I was fine with him. I just wanted to know the story. Mm-hmm. And yeah. I was completely satisfied with what I saw.
There's a great narrative about how he gets manipulated by Emperor Palpatine. If you can look past his whiny voice, it's really scary. It is fucking frightening how easily he gets twisted and used.
Yeah, but he has a lot of anger in him. I mean, hell, Yoda said it himself.
Much fear in you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when you're like that, you're more easily swayed
by those fears, and that's exactly what Emperor Palpatine used. He used Anakin's fear against him, and that was how he got manipulated, and that's how he became Darth Vader. So I'm hoping we have that kind of thing going on with this movie, because right now these trailers, they're like I said, I had a really bad feeling about this movie right from the start. So far, the trailers have not shaken that in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping in the end that what we get is an overarching story that ties everything together, and not just keeps the story going, but wraps up the classic trilogy. I mean, let's face facts. I mean, the classic trilogy. That story's done. It's done. It's told. It's over.
Yeah,
there really is nowhere else to go.
It's always enjoying to rewatch it.
Well, yeah, I mean, rewatching it is one thing, but I mean, continuing on, it's time for the new guard to take over. I mean, a lot of fans are saying that they're speculating that many, if not all, of the original cast are going to die or step away. Some people are already speculating Han Solo is going to die. My personal feelings
in this movie.
Yeah, in this movie. My personal feelings is that Han Solo. Well, Harrison Ford
Why are people thinking that?
Well, there's two reasons. One, Harrison Ford has always said, pretty much from Empire Strikes Back, that Han Solo should die off because he didn't feel Han Solo had anything else to contribute to the story. Mm-hmm. I don't think that feeling has changed. I think he's going to want Han Solo to die. He's going to want him to go out in a blaze of glory. And I definitely agree with that. And the second one, and again, this is a little snippet. Maybe I'm reading too much into this. This is all purely speculation. But seeing Rey and Finn, I think her name's Rey. I don't know. You might want to look that up. But seeing Rey and Finn on the Millennium Falcon leads me to believe that they end up taking control of the Millennium Falcon, and that's how that ties them in, and then they end up continuing their story from there and their fight against the Empire. And Han goes away, and of course we haven't seen. The biggest question is, where is Luke in any of these trailers? And a lot of, while there's
they haven't shown him in any of the trailers, but he's credited in the movie.
He's in the movie.
He's in it.
Yeah, he's there. Question is where. And a lot of people are saying that he won't show up until the very end. A lot of people are saying that some fans are speculating that he's secretly Kylo Ren, even though they've already cast somebody else to be Kylo Ren.
So Rey, you were saying it's spelled R-E-Y, Rey.
Right. Oh, okay. So I was right.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Good to know I was right about something for a change. But
This is weird. There's a few people who were on here
oh yeah, there's a lot we
as
haven't
cast,
seen
but they don't have a name in the movie.
yet. Yeah, there's a lot we haven't seen yet.
Simon Pegg.
Yeah.
He's going to be in it, but he has no character name of who he's playing.
Yeah. That's true with a lot of people.
Huh. I didn't realize Andy Serkis was going to be in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, no, they got a great cast for this movie. And that's the only thing that gives me hope. But they had a great cast for the prequel trilogy too, and look how that turned out.
Well, you know.
And to be fair, I mean, Episode 2 was really the only one of those movies that was bad. The other two were just good. They weren't great. They weren't as good as the classic trilogy. I mean, they served their purpose, but yeah. I mean, I don't know what to think about this movie. I don't think anything good about it so far.
I'm indifferent. It'll be nice to see. And then after I see it, I can really say yay or nay, I suppose.
Right.
But
I'll get back to what I was saying earlier about Luke. Some people are saying Luke won't show up until the very end of the movie.
yeah,
There'll be some kind of big reveal.
well, it's possible.
And a lot of people are speculating that Luke is in the movie, but he dies. And that's why they aren't showing him. It's because it's at some point in the movie he dies, possibly even early on. Maybe Kylo Ren kills him, and then Finn. That's how Finn gets the lightsaber.
Yeah.
I think some people are speculating that Finn's lightsaber is actually Luke's lightsaber.
Now, is any of this particular movie following any of the books? Because I know there's
Negative. Disney has said that the expanded universe is not canon. They're not following any of it. They're not accepting any of it into the movies at all, which is a real shame.
well, because wasn't George Lucas the author of all the Star Wars books?
No.
I thought he wrote the original stories.
Well, he wrote the original movies, but the books, no, none of them were written by George Lucas. Timothy Zahn, actually, he wrote the Heir to the Empire trilogy. That's actually how he got started. That's how he got his. That's how he got made big. He'd been an author before that. But yeah, he wrote what was it? Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of the expanded universe. Amazing books.
I actually had the first 3 and I never read them.
I read the first one. I never read the second 2.
And I got rid of them.
Yeah, I've been meaning to go back and find them again. They're still out there. Well, they're not in print anymore, but you can find them used.
Yeah, well, that was how I got them in the first place, intending on,
Yeah, I mean,
but
a lot of us were really hoping. A lot of Star Wars fans were really hoping that, although the expanded universe was no longer canon, that at least some vestiges of it would continue. Like there would be some version of the Heir to the Empire trilogy. Because the Heir to the Empire trilogy, the New Republic has established, the Empire's been beaten back to less than a quarter of its space. It's still just desperately clinging for life. But there's these warlords that, in particular, in the Heir to the Empire trilogy, Grand Admiral Thrawn, he actually assumes control of the entire empire, and he makes it a militocracy.
See, I've never even heard of it.
Yeah.
Who that is.
But I was really hoping that Kylo Ren and all these characters, and Phasma and whoever else, there's this new leader of the Empire as well. I can't remember their name.
Yeah.
I think it's a woman, actually, if I remember right. I'll have to look that up. But I was really hoping that they would follow sort of that same thread at least. But that doesn't appear to be the case. But the exact opposite appears to be true. It's almost like JJ's just kind of resetting, and he's just going to make episode 4, 5, and 6 all over again. And episode 7, 8, and 9 is going to be episode 4, 5, and 6. And if that's the case, I'm going to be really fucking disappointed.
You really think he would do that?
I do.
You
I honestly do.
can't completely retell the story.
I think that's what he's going to do. And there's a big reason for that, and it's because of all the bullshit that's been going on about the prequel trilogy for the last 20 years. Everyone hated, not everyone, but all of the original fans of Star Wars hated the prequel trilogy because they didn't get the prequel trilogy all over again. They didn't get movies that were as good as the prequel trilogy, or if not, or better.
Yeah.
They were very, 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 very picky about what they got.
Well, I know, but I mean, but everyone's getting tired of the fact that movies keep getting remade and remade and remade yet again.
That's my fear with why we're getting so little of the story. That's my fear, is that we're getting episode 4 all over again. It's just new characters. They're going to pass the baton, but for all intents and purposes, it's going to be, this build up where you've got, we already saw them getting captured. Hello, Death Star. Everyone was captured on the Death Star. Then they get free, and then there's this massive battle in the atmosphere, Battle of Yavin, all over again.
Yeah.
They even showed a fucking Death Star, for crying out loud. They've got another fucking Death Star. Are you kidding me? You didn't learn your mistake the first 2 times? Come on.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah. All right, folks, that's where we're going to wrap this one up for the time being. I'm Bro Mopar.
I'm Darkphoenix.
Someone give her some help.
Help,
she
I
needs
married a nerd.